Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Ring of Honor Final Battle review. Ring of Honor Final Battle was from College Park Center in Arlington, Texas. And I did manage to watch the show yesterday, and I know I didn't do a Dynamite review and a SmackDown AEW Rampage review on Friday, and I was sick with the flu. So after Monday, after I put up the Raw review, the next day on Tuesday, I was feeling, symptoms, had like a 100-degree fever, and then just for the next 4.5 days, I was feeling very lousy from the flu. Friday night was when my symptoms went away. Yesterday, I was feeling good. Today, which is Sunday, feeling very good as well. So it was a very lousy 4.5 days. Go out there, get your flu shots, people. Having the flu sucks. But I did manage to watch Dynamite on Wednesday, and I thought it was a very good show. Really enjoyed the promo between MJF and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks delivered one hell of a promo on MJF. That was one of my favorite segments of the night there. Of course, on SmackDown, you had Kurt Angle's birthday celebration, which, of course, the show was in Pittsburgh, Kurt Angle's hometown. And they had this whole birthday celebration for him, and I really liked the cake that they had for Kurt Angle in the ring, which you already know somebody's going to be going through the cake or crashing into it. So yeah, Kurt Angle come out there, and then you had the Alpha Academy come out there, interrupt his celebration, and Chad Gable, of course, on the mic, with his stupid cringe. Shush! Thank you! God, I can't stand that. When are they going to give Chad Gable a gimmick change, please? But then you had Kurt Angle come out with the milk truck, just like he did in 2001 on Monday Night Raw, where he ended up squirting milk at the Alliance, which is one of my favorite Monday Night Raw moments. So he had assisted help from Gable Steveson. So Gable Steveson was out there along with Kurt Angle, and then Kurt Angle was just squirting the milk at Chad Gable and Otis in the ring, to which Otis ended up selling the hell out of getting sprayed with milk. So it was a nice throwback there. I mean, even though it was a rehash, we saw this back in 2001, so that's 21 years ago. So we saw that, and I thought it was a nice way to end SmackDown. Was it original? No, because like I said, we seen this back in 2001 because Kurt Angle did it to the Alliance on Monday Night Raw. But those are my thoughts on Dynamite and also SmackDown. And on AEW Rampage, you had a very good match between Takeshita and Jon Moxley, which was awesome. It was the best match of the night on Rampage. So I really enjoyed the hell out of that match. Of course, Moxley bled again. You can't have a Moxley match if he's not bleeding. I mean, does Moxley have to bleed in every match that he has? No. Those are my thoughts on Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rampage for this week. So moving into Ring of Honor Final Battle, which I thought was a very good show from beginning to end. The crowd in Arlington, Texas was great, and they really enjoyed it. A lot of good wrestling from these guys. You had 4 matches on the 0 Hour show before the pay-per-view started. You had Jeff Cobb versus Mascara Dorada. You had Angelo Park and Matt Menard end up taking on the Shinobi. They took on the Shinobi Shadow Squad, which this was Cheeseburger and Eli Isom. Will Nightingale versus Trish Adora. And the last match that was on 0 Hour was Top Flight. This was Dante and Darius Martin versus The Kingdom. And The Kingdom is Matt Taven and Mike Beddick, which they were accompanied by Maria Kanellis. And then for the regular matches on the card, you had a tag team match, Blake Christian and AR Fox versus Dralistico and ROH. You had the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship on the line, where Mercedes Martinez defended the title against Athena. You had Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee versus Shane Taylor and JD Griffey, which this was Shane Taylor Promotions. Then you had a 6-man tag team match for the Ring of Honor World 6-man Tag Team Championship. The Embassy, which was Brian Cage and Gates of Agony, Khan and Toa Leona, accompanied by Prince Nana. And they have taken on Dalton Castle and his boys, Brandon and Brent Tate. You had the Ring of Honor Pure Championship on the line, where Daniel Garcia defended the title against Willow Yuta in a Pure Rules match. And then you also saw a dog collar match, a double dog collar match. The Briscoes, this is Jay and Mark Briscoe versus FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. This was for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship, to which FTR would defend the titles. The Ring of Honor World Television Championship was on the line. Samoa Joe defended the title against Juice Robinson. And the main event, it was the Ring of Honor World Championship match, where Chris Jericho defended the title against Claudio Castagnoli. And if Claudio lost the match, Claudio would have to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. But overall, this was a very good show, Ring of Honor Final Battle. Now I got some news before I get into the review of Ring of Honor's weekly TV, which was revealed, and that New Japan will be heavily involved. And I'm reading this from WrestlingView.com. It says right here, Tony Khan revealed during the Final Battle media scrum yesterday that the new home of Ring of Honor's weekly television show will be on the Honor Club streaming service. Tony Khan also said that New Japan will be heavily involved in the project and has been in discussions with them. Tony Khan also stated that he wants to take advantage of the development work that former owners Sinclair Broadcasting funded with all the technology behind Honor Club, which his own team finished off. The Honor Club is available now at $10 per month. It contains the complete archive of past Ring of Honor programming, now with future pay-per-views, including Final Battle, moving to the service 90 days after they take place. Tony Khan did not provide any further details as to when the first show will debut or when tapings will start. He further stated that he expects to have more news coming out of New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 17. Yet saying as far as Ring of Honor pay-per-views, Tony Khan did say he is going to keep his existing relationship with Warner Bros. Discovery and Bleacher Report on the success he has with the platform. So, there you go. So Ring of Honor is going to be on the Honor Club streaming service. Sadly, it's not going to be on cable, which I thought it was going to be. But that was my prediction. I thought that Ring of Honor was going to be on cable TV, on either like TBS or TNT, because Ring of Honor is, always mentioned on AEW television. But Ring of Honor is going to be on the Honor Club streaming service. It's $10 a month. No news on when they're going to start taping shows. So just wanted to get that news out. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Going to start with the 4 matches that were on 0 Hour. And the first match that kicked off 0 Hour was Jeff Cobb versus Mascara Dorada. And Mascara Dorada, He is, of course, formerly known as Grand Metalik when he was in WWE. Of course, you remember he was part of the Cruiserweight division. And then, of course, with the Lucha House Party, where it was him, Kalisto, and Lince Dorado. And this was a good match here to open up 0 Hour. Both Cobb and Dorada gave it all they got here in the match. Dorada started off the match with some movements on Jeff Cobb, and we had Jeff Cobb end up sliding out of the ring to take a breather. Dorada then attempted a dive, but Jeff Cobb ended up catching Dorada, slammed him spine first into the ring post. So both guys went back to the ring. Cobb maintained control of the match. He hit Dorada with some chops and some strikes. Cobb then whipped Dorada into the turnbuckle, and Dorada ended up coming back. He ended up catching Cobb in a corner attack. So we had the two of them exchanging some strikes. Dorada ended up scoring a near fall after hitting Cobb with a springboard bulldog. Cobb then won the match. He ended up catching Dorada with a pop-up tour of the islands. And there you go. Jeff Cobb ended up winning the match. Overall, I thought this was a very good opening to 0 Hour here. Very good match from Cobb and Dorada. And then we went to the tag team match where it was Matt Menard and Angelo Parker of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And they took on the Shinobi Shadow Squad. And this was Cheeseburger and Eli Isom. And this was a really fun tag team match. So the match started off with Eli Isom and Matt Menard. Eli Isom ended up rolling out of the way of an attack by Matt Menard. And the crowd was chanting for Cheeseburger, to which Cheeseburger was over with the crowd here. Everybody in that crowd loves Cheeseburger. So Cheeseburger came in and he ended up attacking Angelo Parker. Cheeseburger caught Parker's kick, ended up giving Parker a sarcastic handshake. So then both Menard and Parker end up exchanging tags. Parker then ended up hitting Cheeseburger with some stomps, and it was followed up by a headlock from Matt Menard. So Eli Isom ended up making a tag, and he double speared both Menard and Parker in the corner. Cheeseburger took advantage, and he ended up coming off the top rope with a double foot stomp. So at the end of the match, we had Angelo Parker and Matt Menard end up hitting a double DDT on Eli Isom. And there you go. Menard and Parker ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a really fun tag team match here. It was shocked to see Cheeseburger so over with the crowd there. And then we had Willow Nightingale versus Trish Adora, which this was a decent women's match here. So the match got underway. Trish Adora ended up taking Willow Nightingale down to the mat, ended up locking her in the head scissors. Nightingale ended up managed to escape out of that and applied her own head scissors onto Trish Adora. And then Adora ended up getting out of the head scissors very quickly. So both Trish Adora and Nightingale ended up exchanging some strikes to each other. Nightingale then delivered a shotgun drop kick to Trish Adora, which was great. Nightingale then ended up pouncing Adora across the ring. And in the end, Nightingale ended up hitting Trish Adora with the Doctor Bomb. And there you go. Will Nightingale ended up winning the match. Overall, decent match. Decent women's match. And then we had the last match that was on 0 Hour. And it was Top Flight. Darius and Dante Martin versus The Kingdom. This was Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, as they were accompanied by Mike Bennett's wife, Maria Kanellis. this was a very good match here, very entertaining. It was a rapid pace match, and Top Flight, they were the MVPs of this match in my opinion. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, I think they make a good tag team. Of course, we all don't want to remember when Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis was in WWE, and they had a stupid, shitty gimmick with a awful theme song, and Mike Bennett was nothing but a jobber in WWE. Just Mike Bennett in WWE and how they handled him was absolutely awful. So the match started with Mike Bennett and Dante Martin. They started off the match. Matt Taven jumped Dante from behind. Mike Bennett ended up taking out Darius on the apron. So Darius ended up recovering, and Matt Taven ended up taking out both Darius and Dante with a series of spinning back kicks. So Dante recovered quickly, ended up hitting a swanton on Matt Taven, and it prompted Mike Bennett to come into the ring. Bennett ended up on the apron, and he ended up falling to the floor as a result from the drop kick delivered by Dante. So Matt Taven ended up to hit his signature running kick, but Darius ended up ducking out of it. Mike Bennett came in to try to gain more of an advantage of the match. So Top Flight then regained control. And there was a point where Maria Kanellis got involved. She was on the apron, and the referee ended up ejecting her from ringside. And so we had, at the end of the match, Dante Martin ended up hitting a flip assist nosedive with Darius on Matt Taven. And there you go. Top Flight ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a very good, entertaining tag team match. Moved at a rapid pace. And like I said, the MVPs of this match were Darius and Dante. They make a good team. They're just that entertaining when they're in the ring. Just really enjoy Top Flight. But overall, very good match it was. Now moving on to the main show. Ring of Honor Final Battle opened up with Blake Christian and AR Fox versus ROH and Dralistico. This was the Ring of Honor debut for Dralistico, teaming with ROH, which ROH and Dralistico were accompanied by Jose the Assistant and Alan Angels. He was formerly known as 10, who turned heel, I think 2 weeks ago on Rampage. So I may be wrong on that, but I heard he turned heel. But this was a very good match to open up the show. So we had AR Fox and ROH end up exchanging chops. And ROH tossed Blake Christian into the barricade. Dralistico ended up sending AR Fox onto the base of the ring steps with a powerbomb, which looked brutal. So we had Blake Christian getting beat down from Dralistico and ROH. The crowd was fully behind Blake Christian and AR Fox. So we had AR Fox ended up coming off the top rope with a swanton into Dralistico, which was great. AR Fox then dove onto ROH at ringside, and he dived onto Dralistico, to which Dralistico rolled out of the ring after being hit by the swanton by Fox. So Blake Christian ended up recovering. He popped back up. He dove onto ROH at ringside. AR Fox positioned himself on the top turnbuckle, and he went for the 450 splash on Dralistico, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Blake Christian and AR Fox ended up winning the match. Post-match, ROH and Dralistico, they both end up being down on Blake Christian and AR Fox. Same with Jose the Assistant and Alan Angels. So Rush and Dralistico beat them down. Beat Blake Christian and AR Fox down with chair shots. Rush ended up using his signature power cord, to which he used that earlier in the match. So pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was a very good match to open final battle. Blake Christian and AR Fox, make a good team. I enjoy Rush. Rush is just that entertaining in the ring. And not a bad debut for Dralistico in Ring of Honor. And then we had the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship on the line, where Mercedes Martinez defended the title against Athena. And this was a very good match here. Athena is so over with the crowd here, even though she's a heel on AEW television. But her going to the match, she was a babyface. Mercedes Martinez was the heel. And we had Mercedes Martinez end up being down on Athena. Athena came back, started pounding away at Mercedes Martinez with some strikes. So both women eventually end up on the middle turnbuckle, and they went back and forth. Athena ended up sending Mercedes Martinez down to the mat with a German suplex, and it didn't keep Mercedes Martinez down. So Mercedes Martinez got back up. She delivered a few suplexes to Athena. And both women end up going to the outside. Mercedes Martinez ended up positioning Athena on the barricade. She ended up dropping her to the floor with a DDT. Mercedes Martinez ended up rolling Athena into the ring. Ended up attempting the breasty sleeper. So Athena then bit Mercedes Martinez, and she ended up getting out of the breasty sleeper. Athena then ended up ripping one of the turnbuckle pads off the ring, and she ended up drop kicking Mercedes Martinez into that exposed turnbuckle, to which Athena ended up following up with the O-face, and she ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Athena ended up winning the match, and she is the new Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. Overall, this was a very good match with Athena and Martinez. And Athena is doing some of the best work of her career here. She's just that entertaining. So, awesome, good match it was. And then we had Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, versus Shane Taylor Promotions. This was Shane Taylor and JD Griffey. And this was a decent tag team match here. So JD Griffey started off the match against Swerve Strickland. They were circling each other. Strickland ended up tagging out to Keith Lee. And Keith Lee was over with the crowd here. Of course, there were chants of, "Oh, bask in his glory." So JD Griffey ended up tagging out to Shane Taylor. Swerve Strickland tagged himself back in. And Swerve ended up trying to chop down Shane Taylor's legs, to which Shane Taylor ended up positioning Swerve Strickland on the apron, and he delivered a leg drop. Swerve Strickland then recovered, tagged in Keith Lee, and there was just both frequent tags going on, between both teams. So Keith Lee ended up striking Swerve. He accidentally struck Swerve, and that led to Swerve walking out of the match. So, of course, teasing of the breakup between Swerve and Our Glory. So they keep teasing it. So JD Griffey accidentally kicked Shane Taylor in the head which sent him crashing to ringside. Keith Lee took advantage of that, and Keith Lee ended up hitting JD Griffey with his power slam, and he went for the cover, and there you go. Swerve in Our Glory ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a decent tag team match here. Of course, more teases of Swerve in Our Glory, possibly breaking up, which we all know is going to be coming. We all know it's going to be coming soon. And then we had the 6-man tag team match for the Ring of Honor World 6-man Tag Team Championship. So we had the Embassy, which this was Brian Cage, and the Gates of Agony, which is Doa Leona and Khan. They were accompanied by Prince Nana, and they ended up taking on Dalton Castle and his boys, Brandon and Brent Tate, which they are the World 6-man Tag Team Champions going into the match. So we have Brian Cage end up tossing around both of the boys, Brandon and Brent. He was tossing them around like rag dolls, which was crazy. And obviously with Cage doing that to them, that angered Dalton Castle. So Paul Turner, who was the referee for the match, he prevented Dalton Castle from coming into the ring. So Brent Tate made the tag to Dalton, and Dalton then delivered a German suplex to Doa Leona. Leona got up quickly, and he tagged back in, and he squashed both Brandon and Brent with a Samoa drop. Brent Tate, he tried to get back up, and he ended up squaring off against all 3 members of Embassy. But Doa Leona ended up planting Brent down. Dalton Castle ended up coming in, and Doa Leona ended up throwing Brent into Dalton Castle, which sent Dalton Castle outside the ring. And this allowed Doa Leona and Khan to swing Brent Tate into a powerbomb from Brian Cage. So then Brian Cage, later on, he ended up pinning Tate, and that was that. So the Embassy ended up winning the match. They are the new Ring of Honor World 6-man Tag Team Champions. So, but overall, it was a pretty good match there. And then we had Top Flight. Top Flight would be an interview backstage. Matt Menard and Angelo Parker end up interrupting them because Lexi Nair was interviewing them. So it started a fight between both Top Flight and Menard and Parker. And the fight ended up spilling out to ringside. Matt Menard and Angelo Parker end up getting the upper hand, and they went into the ring. They got on the mic, and they were saying about how Ring of Honor was always full of garbage, flippy-floppy pro wrestlers. Now, was this really needed, in my opinion, from Menard and Parker to cut a promo? No. So then we had Wheeler Yuta versus Danny Garcia. Ring of Honor Pure Championship on the line in a pure rules match. And this was pretty good. Wheeler Yuta did very good here. So Yuta and Garcia end up winning right at each other. Danny Garcia ended up using a closed fist. So Danny Garcia ended up throwing Yuta out of the ring and then into the ring steps. Danny Garcia had no intentions of letting up. He had then trapped Wheeler Yuta in the ropes, choked him out, and then the referee tried to pull them apart. And that counted as Wheeler Yuta's first rope break. So then Danny Garcia ended up trapping Yuta in the ropes with a double arm stretch, which cost Wheeler Yuta another rope break. So then Danny Garcia ended up applying some holds on Yuta, but he refused to break them. So pretty much at the end of the match, we had Yuta end up winning, to which Yuta won the match, and he is now the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. So now Wheeler Yuta is a 2-time Ring of Honor Pure Champion. So, but overall, this was a good Pure Rules match. Wheeler Yuta did very well here. And then the next match, which in my opinion was the best match of the night, and in my opinion, my favorite match of the year. It was the double door collar match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. The Briscoes, Jay and Mark Briscoe versus FTR, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler. Just a epic match this was. If you guys haven't watched this match or didn't watch Ring of Honor Final Battle, would highly recommend you watch this match. It is absolutely great. In my opinion, I think this match was better than the match that they had at Death Before Dishonor. So, but this was just a crazy good match. You had the Briscoes come out first, and then FTR. So we had Jay Briscoe tied to Dax Harwood. Mark Briscoe was chained to Cash Wheeler because they all had to be chained. So Jay was chained to Dax Harwood. Mark Briscoe chained to Cash Wheeler. So Harwood and Jay Briscoe end up in the crowd, and it prompts Harwood to throw a drink in Jay Briscoe's face. So it was a bloodbath between both of these teams. Dax Harwood was bleeding profusely, and FTR were wearing these white trunks. And as the match progressed, when they were bleeding, the white trunks were just covered in blood. So we had some strikes delivered. Harwood ended up hitting Mark Briscoe with a heart attack off the top rope with a chain wrapped around his arm. So there was a table that was positioned at ringside near a pile of chairs. Harwood came off the top rope onto Jay Briscoe with the chain wrapped around his head. Wheeler then yanked Mark Briscoe off the top rope with the chain, sent him crashing through the pile of chairs at ringside, which was crazy. It was fucking awesome. The crowd was just eating this match up. It was just that fucking good of a match. So the crowd was literally on their feet for this match as the match progressed. So Jay ended up nailing Harwood with a J driller onto the chain, and he ended up going for the cover, to which Harwood kicked out. Harwood fired back with his pile driver onto a chair to Jay Briscoe and also the chain. So he ended up going for the cover. Jay ended up kicking out. Harwood then perched Jay on the top turnbuckle as Wheeler ended up throwing some more chairs into the ring. You also had the referee. The referee was busted open as well. The referee was bleeding profusely as well here in the match. It was just absolutely crazy. So we had the Briscoes end up winning the match. They defeated FTR, and they are the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. So post-match, you had the Guns end up jumping FTR from behind, Austin and Colton Gunn. So Austin attempted to cut a promo, and the Briscoes came back to the ring, chased the Guns off, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was, in my opinion, match of the year. It was an absolutely very good, brutal, bloody match. Well, like I said, this match was better than their Death Before Dishonor match. But if you guys haven't checked out this match or seen it, highly, highly will recommend it. Just absolutely great. But before going into this match, I knew that this was it for FTR of holding the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. I knew it was going to be going to the Briscoes. But the Briscoes, they can't appear on AEW television because somebody at Warner Bros. Discovery didn't like what Jay had to say. I forgot the whole thing, what Jay said, because apparently that's why Warner Bros. Discovery doesn't want the Briscoes on AEW television. Which, come on, yeah, you gotta have the Briscoes on AEW television because they are now the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. So you got a lot of talent in AEW that the Briscoes could go up against. But no, they don't want the Briscoes on AEW television, thanks to somebody at Warner Bros. Discovery. So, but awesome match it was. And then we had Samoa Joe versus Juice Robinson, Ring of Honor World Television Championship on the line. And this was a pretty good match here. Juice Robinson ended up coming out first. And then Samoa Joe always getting a good reaction from the crowd. Joe ended up starting off the match, delivered some punches to Juice Robinson. Robinson came back, ended up putting Joe down on the mat. Robinson then tried to deliver a jumping splash to Joe, but Joe turned it into the Coquina Clutch. Robinson ended up escaping out of the Coquina Clutch, and he ended up sending Joe to the outside. And Joe was thrown headfirst to the barricade. So both guys went back into the ring. Robinson ended up wearing down Joe with some, targeting to him. And Joe applied a crossface to Juice Robinson, but Juice Robinson got to the rope, and Joe ended up breaking up the crossface. Joe then attempted a muscle buster, but Juice Robinson turned it into a sunset flip pin. And so Joe ended up kicking out. Joe got Juice up on the top turnbuckle. He pinned the muscle buster onto Juice Robinson, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Samoa Joe ended up winning the match, retaining the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. So it's still Joe 2 belts. Joe holding the Ring of Honor World Television Championship and also the TNT Championship. So you can still call him Joe 2 belts. Overall, very good match from Joe and Juice Robinson. Samoa Joe, we all know he's just impressive in the ring. Just that good of a talent. Main event, Claudio Castagnoli versus Chris Jericho. Ring of Honor World Championship was on the line, and if Claudio lost the match, he would have to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. And this was a decent match here. Wasn't great or perfect by any means. I'd say I liked their match that they had at Grand Slam. But Claudio Castagnoli, he ended up wasting no time to Jericho. He immediately went after Jericho, threw him to the outside. You had Jericho chasing after Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman, who were on commentary. So Jericho chased after them, and all you just saw was Claudio come out of nowhere and deliver an uppercut to Jericho on the outside. So we had Jericho was thrown to the barricade by Claudio. Claudio threw him back into the ring. So Claudio then ended up tossing Jericho off the top turnbuckle with a gut-wrench suplex. So Claudio continued beating down on Jericho. He delivered an uppercut to Jericho. And when the ref was counted, when He got to 8. The crowd was just chanting, Ocho! Which I thought was hilarious. So, Jericho was in control of the match. He sent Claudio down to the mat with a hurricanrana. Claudio then rolled out of the ring onto the apron, and it prompted Jericho to attempt a springboard dropkick, but instead Claudio caught him with a uppercut. Claudio then pulled Jericho out to the apron. Jericho took advantage, and he suplexed Castagnoli on the floor, and that suplex almost hit one of the cameramen there, and you could tell that Claudio was barely in pain from that suplex on the floor because, of course, you're suplexing, a guy on the floor, and there's concrete underneath the padding. So both guys end up making it back into the ring. They end up hitting each other with a double clothesline, and both guys were taken out. So Claudio attempted to deliver a swing to Jericho, and Jericho reversed that into the walls of Jericho. And all we saw was Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. They end up coming down, and Matt Menard ended up slipping Jericho, Floyd, Jericho's bat. So Jericho struck Claudio with the bat while the referee was distracted with Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. But the referee ended up ejecting both Menard and Parker. And that's when Claudio ended up swinging Jericho around, which the crowd really loved. And Claudio swung Jericho around like 26 times. And then Jericho submitted after the last swing. And Claudio won the match. So now Claudio is now a 2-time Ring of Honor World Champion. So great on Claudio for picking up his second win with the ROH World Championship. So Claudio then celebrated in the ring with Wheeler Yuta and Jerry Lynn. You had confetti going all over the place, which was great. And that was how Ring of Honor Final Battle went off the air. Overall, this was a decent match, but this wasn't as good as their match as, what we saw a Grand Slam between them. So, but overall, Ring of Honor Final Battle, very good show this was. If you guys didn't watch the show, would highly recommend it. Just an awesome show it was. Of course, check out the that Briscoes FTR match. The double dog collar match. It was absolutely impressive. But anyways, that's it for the Ring of Honor Final Battle review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all back here tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. So, see you all tomorrow night.